I got a new table saw. This video is going to be a little bit technical and quite talky, just to pre-warn you, so if that's not your thing, you might want to move on. Why am I upgrading? I've been a table saw user for about 5.5 years now, and in that time I've used two saws, both of which are contractor style portable site saws. For the kind of projects that I've done in the past, those saws have performed pretty well for me. They did practically everything I needed them to, usually accurately enough. I say usually because when I'm making a batch of something, i.e. multiple of the same item, I have noticed some slight inconsistencies and a little bit of inaccuracy. But generally there's no reason why I couldn't carry on working with them, but there are a few reasons why I wanted to upgrade. Firstly, I have a much larger workshop since moving home last year, so I now have the space for a larger saw. Site saws are brilliant not only for small workshops but also for their portability, but I hardly ever need to use a table saw outside of the workshop, and a bigger saw has some advantages, such as a larger table to support larger workpieces and a larger cutting capacity. Secondly, the table saw is probably the tool I use most frequently in the work that I do, and the appeal of having a nice cast iron table to work on and a nice quiet induction motor is something I've been kind of fantasizing about for a few years now. And thirdly, it's not often I treat myself to something nice, and I've been taking on some extra commission work recently, putting some of that money aside to reinvest into a tool that I really want to enjoy using. Choosing my new table saw. I've been researching table saws for about a year or more now, and I was considering the option of buying an old table saw like a Watkins or a Sedgwick or a Startrite, but they don't come up for sale very often on places like eBay, and when they do, they tend to sell quickly. Also, some I looked at were a bit too big to fit into the space that I have available. I'm also not very mechanically minded, so getting a new machine rather than an old one that might need a bit of tuning up or work done to it appealed to me a bit more, just for peace of mind. I set a budget of about £1,000, but I'd consider paying a bit more than that if I needed to find the perfect machine for me, but much more than that would be unaffordable. My other requirements were, it had to have an induction motor, it had to have a cast iron table, and it needed to fit in the space between the services pillar in my workshop where the power and dust extraction is, and the wall next to it, with enough space for me still to be able to walk around it. I'd also prefer a saw with a 10-inch or 254mm blade over an 8-inch or 210mm blade. I decided I didn't need to go any bigger than that, i.e. a 12-inch or 305mm blade, because I just don't need to make cuts that big very often. I was interested in a total of 9 different table saws, and being a geek, I like to put all of the specs and everything down onto a spreadsheet, as having all of that data in front of me helps me to make a decision. Out of those 9 saws, 5 of them were 10-inch cabinet saws, 1 was a 10-inch hybrid saw, and 3 were 8-inch cabinet saws. I'll start with the 10-inch saws first. The first 2 saws, from what I can work out, are the same machine, one badged as ITech and one badged as SIP, and both with the model number 01332. They're both 10-inch cabinet saws, same specifications, same fence, and both priced quite similarly at the time that I was looking. They both have 3 horsepower induction motors, and they have a huge rip cut capacity of up to 1060mm, and both required a 16 amp electrical supply. The next option was the Axminster AT254SB, another 10-inch cabinet saw with 3 horsepower motor, and it appears to be similar to the first 2 machines again, but with a few subtle differences. The Axminster has a different fence rail. Whether it's better or worse, I'm not sure, but it's definitely different. As standard, it comes with 2 steel extension tables, one at the side and one as an outfeed table at the back, as opposed to the 2 cast iron side tables that come with the 01332 models. Interestingly, the arbor size on the Axminster is 30mm, whereas on the 01332, those machines have a 25.4mm or 1-inch arbor. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that maybe the Axminster saw shares a lot of the components of the 01332 saws, but with some minor alterations to bring it in at a slightly lower price point perhaps. Who knows, but the price of the Axminster at the time of looking was a few £100s cheaper than the 01332 models, which was quite appealing. Axminster also offers some upgrade packages, one of which is for 2 additional cast iron extension tables, a support leg, and longer rip fence rails, which increase the rip capacity from 610mm to 840mm, obviously at an additional cost. The Axminster also needs a 16 amp electrical supply, And it comes with an auxiliary fence that attaches to the main fence for making rip cuts safer and easier, whereas the 01332 saws do not. The next two options were both from Charnwood, the W629 and the W650. These two saws appear similar in specifications, but on doing a bit more research, I found a really good article on the Charnwood website explaining the differences between the two. And I won't go into too much detail, but to summarise, the W650 has a better quality fence, better components with its cast iron trunnions and heavy duty motor mount, and it's rated for professional use, whereas the W629 is rated for light trade use. What's interesting is that there wasn't much between the two in terms of price, at least when I was looking anyway, so in my opinion, the W650 is probably worth the extra money for that extra build quality. Both of the saws run on a normal 230 volt electrical supply, which is appealing to me because it meant I wouldn't need to upgrade the electrical supply in my workshop. And both have 3 horsepower induction motors. The only downsides for me with the Charnwood machines is that they both come with a sliding table, and that's not something I want or need, mainly because they take up way too much space in my opinion, and I have other ways of making those kind of cuts. So for me, it would just sit there gathering dust and I'd be paying for something that I'd never use. It's unfortunate that Charnwood don't offer the option of buying their saws without the sliding tables at a lower price point. If they did, it definitely would have been up there as one of the best options for me. Another downside is that the extension tables are pressed steel, much like the standard option with the Axminster saw, presumably to keep the costs of these machines down a little. But with the Charnwood, it's 2 side extensions as opposed to 1 side extension and 1 outfeed extension on the Axminster. And also both of the Charnwood saws have slightly smaller, more compact table sizes than the saws mentioned previously. The next saw I considered was the Lumberjack TS1800, a 10-inch hybrid saw which has a cast iron table, steel extension tables, and a built-in mobile base. This is the only saw in the list that wasn't a cabinet saw. It has a less powerful motor than the saws mentioned previously at 2.5 horsepower. I really don't know if that would make much of a difference though. And this saw was brought to my attention by a man that has possibly been through more table saws than I have had hot dinners, Matt from Badger Workshop, so thank you Matt. This saw we believe is a rebadged rigid R4512 saw which is available in the United States. And I watched a few reviews about that saw on YouTube and it looked to be a pretty good option, but ultimately there is very little information available about the Lumberjack saw online, even on the Lumberjack website, which only has the very basics of the specifications listed, and to be honest, that put me off. I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a tool without knowing more about it, or at least reading some reviews. And at the time there weren't any around, but since then Sean at Sean in the Shed YouTube channel has bought the saw and reviewed it on his channel, so I'll link to that video in the description box below. It could be a really good option for those thousands of woodworkers in the UK looking for a good quality but compact and mobile table saw, and if they were to get a few of these saws into the hands of people who can review them, that would surely help. But I've spoken to a few of my YouTube woodworking friends who have reached out to Lumberjack to see if they could do a deal, either a price discount or something like that in exchange for the saw, so that they could review it on their channels, and Lumberjack haven't responded to anyone. So moving on. The next 3 saws on my list are all 8-inch cabinet saws, and I didn't do so much research on these saws because, as I mentioned earlier, 10-inch was the preference for me. But just to summarise quickly, 2 of the saws, the Charnwood W619 and the Scheppach Precisa TS82, appear to be the same or very similar machines as far as I can tell, and they were both similarly priced at the time I was looking. Both have a sliding table, which again for me was not an advantage. Both have less powerful motors at 1.5 horsepower, but that's understandable because a smaller blade doesn't require as much power. And both had steel extension tables as standard. Finally, the Axminster Craft AC216, which also has a 1.5 horsepower motor. The rip capacity is disappointing though at only 370mm, although I'm not sure whether Axminster do longer fence rails for it to allow bigger cutting capacity. I'm not sure. But there are various other upgrade options available through Axminster, such as a cabinet base and a sliding table kit. And I know that Matt Tablesaw Smith at Badger Workshop bought this saw recently, and he seems really happy with it. The decision. So which saw did I go for? First, I colour-coded my spreadsheet, and this is obviously based on my own personal requirements, so the things that are good for me may not be good for other people looking for a table saw and vice versa. I used a traffic light system to colour code it, green for the good things, amber for okay, and red for bad. And this helped me to nail it down to two options. The Charnwood W650 with its improved build quality over the W629 for not much more money. That seemed like a good deal to me, but the included sliding table for me was a disadvantage. Meanwhile, the fact that it used a regular 230 volt power supply was a huge advantage, as I wouldn't need to upgrade the power supply to my workshop. And the Axminster AT254SB, which would need the power upgrade to 16 amp. But on the plus side, it didn't come with a sliding table as standard, and it has various upgrade options available through Axminster, including the option of having extended fence rails to allow a large cutting capacity of up to 840mm, and cast iron extension tables rather than the steel ones. Both saws were available at a similar price point, but I decided to go for the Axminster AT254SB, along with the extended rails and cast iron extension tables, and also a mobile wheelbase. Just for full disclosure, before purchasing, I reached out to Axminster to see if they would consider giving me a discount in exchange for a full review of the saw on my channel. And they were happy to work with me on a deal, which is great. So I paid for the saw with my own money, but I got it at a bit of a discount, so I didn't pay the full price. I'll have a separate video all about my first impressions of the saw, which I'll link to in the description box as soon as it's available. And as soon as I've given it a fair amount of use, for probably a few months or so at least, I'll let you know my thoughts on it, the good, the bad, and any issues that I find along the way. Just a couple of things I wanted to mention before the end of the video. Firstly, I've recently signed up to the Axminster affiliate scheme, which means that basically if you use the link in the description box below before making any purchases, I earn a small commission from any sales. So I'd really appreciate that, and obviously that helps to support the channel. Secondly, as I was editing this video, it occurred to me that some people might be thinking, why would you spend this kind of money on a table saw without first going to see it and have a look at it? And you're absolutely right. Unfortunately for me though, my nearest Axminster tools store is about a 3-hour drive away, and also at the time it wasn't even open due to the lockdown restrictions, so I was pretty much limited to just doing online research and taking a bit of a punt. That's it for this one. I hope you found this video useful. Please subscribe to my channel for more weekly woodworking videos. If you'd like to help support the channel, you can do that via PayPal or Patreon. Links to both are in the description box below. And on Patreon, you can also get early access to my videos, exclusive content, free plans and cut lists, and a name credit at the end of my videos. Thank you for watching.